So this is about the masculine and feminine archetypes. If you're aware of the Jungian archetypes, then this is sort of like an offshoot of the Jungian archetypes, which are the collective unconscious. So Jung had this idea that in society we have modes of the collective unconscious. So he had a bunch of them. I believe there were 12. There's like one for the mother and the father, the son and the daughter. There's the old man, the old woman, the maiden, and I don't know what the counterpart to the maiden is in a young man, but I think there's more. But I don't think he ever described the masculine and feminine, and I've always been curious about that. And earlier this year, it occurred to me that my theory about Maslow's hierarchy of needs being a spectrum actually really tightly overlaps with the traditional gender roles, which is to say that I think that the masculine archetype is to prioritize your existential needs. If you imagine that the pole of Maslow's hierarchy being a spectrum, one of the poles is your physical needs, then that is the masculine archetype is to prioritize your physical needs, and vice versa. The feminine archetype is to prioritize your existential needs. And it's a little bit funny to say that the masculine and feminine, because I think that masculine and feminine in our society is changing to the extent that masculine and feminine means what has been handed down to us by previous generations in terms of the gender roles. Then I think that is true, and it was true and it is still true. But also I think that there probably is a time in the future when masculine and feminine, or at least like the gender roles, will be so homogenized that it won't really mean anything anymore to say that, but it will still mean something to say that people who prioritize their existential needs or prioritize their physical needs exist. And so yeah, even if you don't use the words masculine and feminine, it still means something to describe people by their prioritization of the existential or physical axes of Maslow's hierarchy. And I also think this is how you can identify toxic masculinity and toxic femininity, which is to say that if toxic masculinity is when you have somebody who only wants to their physical needs and not address or care about their existential needs, and vice versa. Toxic femininity would be the opposite. It would be somebody who only cares about their existential needs and doesn't want to address their physical needs. Like, I think we're all aware of like the stereotype of like a valley girl, somebody who is too good to, or at least like too feminine and too good to learn practical things. Like too good to learn how to use the basic tools. To like change the tire in the car. Something that is like a valuable skill that everyone who drives a car should probably know how to do. They're too good for it. Their pride won't allow them to do it, and vice versa. Like, I think that we're all aware of like men who would not engage in anything that they consider to be feminine, like skincare, or taking care of their appearance, taking care of things that like they might consider to be feminine because they don't. I don't know. It's just like for them, or I know, just like being gruff, being mean, being like ultra assertive all the time, never being kind, never being compassionate, and because they perceive those things to be feminine traits, and yeah, and that is toxic masculinity, which is like never addressing or allowing themselves to address their existential needs.